Hi everyone, and welcome to this lesson on how to play Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. This song contains perhaps the most recognisable riff of all time, except for maybe Smoke on the Water. The two are very similar actually. There's a lot of shared ideas between the two riffs. What I'm going to do with this lesson is I'm going to split it into two videos. So in this video I am going to focus on the intro section to the song and the main riff. And then I'm going to do another video on the verses and the choruses, and I'll leave a link in the description to this video when that video is online. Okay, before we begin learning the notes of the song though, what I want to do is talk a little bit about, first of all, the guitar tone, and then also how to play it. So the guitar tone is an interesting one. It's got a sort of, I don't know how to describe, a nasally quality perhaps to it. It's sort of reminiscent of ZZ Top, that kind of thing. And there is a general consensus that when Mark Knopfler performs this live, he does it using a wah-wah pedal that's sort of left half open. Now, I was going to record this video using a wah-wah pedal, but I've been having some technical difficulties with it, so I've had to improvise something else instead. And what I've done is I've got a Les Paul that I'm playing it on, which is the same guitar that Knopfler played his on, and I'm going through a Marshall amp, and what I've done is to cut back on the treble and the bass and to boost the middle, and that sort of gives it a more nasal tone to it. Okay, so I think that when it was originally recorded, it was probably done using two microphones on the one amp that were slightly out of phase with one another to create that sound, but it can be a difficult sound to replicate, but experiment and you'll probably find something that's fairly close. Go for a slightly overdriven sound, boost the middle, that'll certainly help. Okay, so we'll go and have a look, we'll do a close-up and I'm going to show you what's happening with the picking hand or the right hand. Okay, so first thing you should notice is that I'm using my fingers and my thumb, specifically the index, the middle finger and the thumb. And for the most part you've got the thumb playing on all the beats. Okay, then when you do anything off the beat, you're going to use these middle two fingers to play an upstroke. So it's mostly done on the middle two strings as well, on the D string and the G string. You'll be pulling up with those. So the thumb does sort of the downstroke for the beats, and the upstroke for the and is done with the two fingers. And whenever you need to play a second note on the beat, which is actually most of the time, it's done with the thumb and I think the middle finger. A lot of people I've seen do this using the thumb and the index finger. And it never quite sounds right to me, it doesn't flow right. But as soon as I started playing it with the middle finger, the whole thing just seemed to flow much better. So I think that's what's going on. On the beats, it's the thumb and often with the middle finger. And then on the ands, you've got the two fingers doing an upstroke. Okay, also when we are going through the song, we're pretty much keeping a constant rhythm going. And what that will mean is even when we don't play notes, we'll still be playing the strings. We'll be creating a sort of a mute sound. So for example in the verses, which are a bit sparser, you've still got that rhythm going out throughout, you're just muting out a lot of the strings. Okay, so we're going to open with this. Okay, so this is played whilst the drum introduction is happening. That sort of, it's a little pre-introduction before the guitar introduction. Okay, so for this you have the 5th fret on the A string and the D string played together. You're then going to come down here to the 3rd fret, and again same two strings, play them together. Slide up to the 5th fret, play them again, and slide up to the 8th fret. Okay, we're going to start by playing a G power chord. We're going to do this with the 5th fret of the D string and the 7th fret of the G string. Okay, we're going to pluck them together 3 times. We then drop onto a C power chord. So this is just 5 on the D and the G strings. Going to put the 3rd finger back on to give us the G power chord again. And then we're going to play the 6th fret on the B string. Play that along with the 5th fret of the G. So that should give you. Okay, we're then going to hit the 5th fret of the D string, play the G power chord again, and then the C power chord again 2 times, drop down to the 3rd fret where we've got a B flat power chord, so this is the 3rd fret of the D and the G together. Then we've got the open D string on its own, and then the open D and G strings again, which is another kind of G power chord. So far we have okay, next bar then we're going to start by playing a percussive mute sound, so just mute out the strings and play the same 2 strings again, the D and the G. Then we have the open D and G. Okay, then the 3rd fret D and G. Okay, now we're going to play the D string open twice, and I do this first with the thumb and then with the index finger. So that'll give you. Okay, we're then going to play another B flat power chord, this time 1st fret on the A string and the 3rd fret of the D string. Then slide that up 2 frets. We're then going to have the C power chord here on the D and the G again, both the 5th fret. Back to the 3rd fret D and G, and then open D and G. Okay, so those 2 bars together. So I'll put that whole line together now. Okay, the next line sounds like this. Okay, so we start here by playing a harmonic on the 5th fret of the D string. We then have the G power chord. We're then just going to play the 5th fret of the D string. Then our C power chord. Back to the G power chord 2 times. It gives you. Okay, we're then going to play the D string on its own again. Then we're going to have the 8th fret of the B string. So we then have the C power chord, the G power chord, C power chord again, back to the B flat on the 3rd fret, and then the open 2 strings again. So that'll give you. So I'll put those 2 bars together. Okay, we're then going to hit a harmonic on the 4th fret of the D string, which can be a tricky one to get. I find playing it down closer to the bridge helps. Then we've got an open D and G. We're then going to pull off the 3rd fret of the G string to open, and then we've got the open D string immediately after that. So that bar will be. Okay, we're then going to slide from the 3rd fret of the A and the D up to the 5th fret, and then play it again. So those 2 bars. Okay, so I'll now put the whole of that line together. Okay, so That's the first half of the intro then that is played without any accompanying parts. So let me just put all of that together. Okay, and then we're going to play the second half then. So this is as the rest of the band comes in. Goes like this. Okay, so it's very similar. We're going to start again with... I always start with a harmonic there again. It sounds more like it's just muted on the record, but I start with a harmonic. But whichever you choose to go for, just either mute out the strings. If you're muting anywhere near the 5th fret, you'll probably find that you get the harmonic anyway. So that's the mute or the harmonic at the 5th fret of the D. We then play the G power chord again, so 5 on the D, 7 G. Play that 2 times, then we've got the C power chord, 5 on both the D and the G. Back to the G power chord again. And then we've got that second finger here on the 6th fret of the B, along with the 5th fret of the G. So, and then again we've got the thumb on its own now on the 5th fret of the D. Then the G power chord, the C power chord, then hit the 5th fret of the D on its own. Move down to the 3rd fret for the B flat. Play the D and the G again together there. Then we've got the open D string, open D and G together. So those 2 bars. Okay, then again we've got a percussive mute type sound there. Open D and G, 3rd fret D and G, then the D string open twice, same way as I did it before. And then we're going to do this slide up again, but this time we're going to fill it out a bit. It sounds like there's the G string involved here. So we've got 1st fret on the A string, 3rd fret, D and G. Slide it up 2 frets, play it again, and then we've got the 3rd fret of the D and G, and then open. Okay, so the whole of that line. Okay, then the next line we've got the again the mute or a percussive mute or a harmonic to open it, then the G power chord. Okay, the thumb on the D string on its own there at the 5th fret, C power chord, and then the G twice. So then we've got the thumb on the D, then the 8th fret of the B, play there with the little finger. And then we're going to leave that just a tad longer than before. And then we're going to do a pull off on the from the G power chord to the C power chord. So pulling off that 3rd finger from 7 to 5 on the G string. We then go straight back to the 3rd fret. We've again got the open D, and then the open D and G. Okay, so we'll put those 2 bars together. Okay, then we've got... Okay, so very similar to before. The percussive mute to begin with. Open D and G. Then the 3rd fret there, the B flat power chord. The open D string twice. Sliding from 3 to 5 on the A and the D, and then restrike that. So those 2 bars. Okay, so put that whole line together.
Okay, and what I'll do now is I'll put the whole of the intro together for you. Okay, so that completes the intro section to Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. I'm going to do a second video on this song to go over the verses and the choruses. I'll just do the first two verses and the first two choruses, I think, because once you can do those, you can do everything else in the song. Everything else is just variations on a theme. So doing that should be enough to get you covered for the whole song. So I will put a link in the description to this video once that video is online. But if you enjoyed this lesson, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.